Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics.
I am not comfortable with the transgenders, the kids that they brought in my classroom, when they said that this kid is transgendering into a different sex, that I couldn't have kids laugh at them.
I'm an Hispanic man. Could I decide I was an Asian man? Would I have the ability to be an Asian man and challenge Harvard's discrimination because I made that decision?
They put tampons in men's bathrooms.
And they're just this, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so the war on women.
That was Marjorie Taylor Greene commenting on the tampon shortage that we're experiencing. And she doesn't want to blame it on supply chain issues, the war in Russia, and the high cost of cotton. No, she's decided to blame it on tampons being available in men's bathrooms, because she's alleging that transgender people are looking to use tampons. None of it makes sense, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, maybe I'm the crazy one. So let's watch her argument and then you decide.
Men have taken over everything. They're women of the year in every category, in women's categories. And the latest news is, Brian, that now there's a shortage of tampons, and that's probably because men are buying tampons. And
is this breaking news right now? Is this a joke?
No, it's not a joke.
Am I being punked right now? Are you telling me that this is legit?
I'm telling you the truth.
They're putting the tampons in the men's bathrooms. Not a joke, not a lie.
Okay, yeah.
What?
It's not at all
Where exactly are they putting the tampons? Why?
Okay.
Why? Like where do the tampons go?
Look.
Where do you put your tampons, lady? Like what are you talking about?
Look, she's so dumb that if she wasn't a politician attacking other people and causing damage in the world, I wouldn't allow anybody to attack her.
Right, because you feel like you're attacking someone who might have a serious, No,
I'm being totally serious.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, like I'd almost want to protect her, like poor girl, right? Like so. Look, none of what she's saying is true, of course. I mean, everybody knows that.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
So, by the way, in what he was saying, obviously he's talking to Dr. Levine because she's the first transgender nominee that could potentially get confirmed for such a position like this, and so she must be the one that's in charge of doing of everything that's about this. That's his first thought, and also demonizing her as just for who she is.
Let me just go head on to what Rand Paul is saying. So it's deeply offensive to compare it to genital mutilation, which is not in reality of their own volition. Okay, they do it to very young children. It has no relationship to trans folks at all, who are choosing to be who they actually are. So what Rand Paul is saying is, I don't really believe in freedom. And I don't want you to follow your beliefs. I want you to follow my beliefs. Yep. My interpretation of my religion says you shouldn't do this. So now I'm gonna impose that on you because I never believed in America.
And what we have done is become comfortable with what is okay in our society. I am not comfortable with the transgenders, the kids that they brought in my classroom, when they said that this kid is transgendering into a different sex, that I couldn't have kids laugh at them, like I couldn't have like other kids got in trouble for having transgender kids in my class. That's why I vote for school choice.
That was hilarious.
That was amazing.
Yeah. So now I couldn't even have the other kids laugh at them and bully them. And the guy's like, hey, that got his attention. And when I watched that clip the first time, I was like, did the volume go off? Because I think she realized that she'd clowned herself.
She stepped in it.
Yeah,
100%.
and then she paused for like 4 brutal seconds. Right? And then she's like, no, I'm sticking with it. The real problem is the transgenders and how we can't mock them, okay? I mean, all the other kids were having fun mocking them and then they get in trouble for it. What the hell kind of country do we live in anymore, huh?
But like if you really want that ignorant, like the ignorance is crystallized in my mind when she says the phrase, kids are transgendering.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a terrible story, but it was hard, like, not to be amused by the depth of her ignorance, right?
Insanely ignorant.
Yeah, and then they bring the transgenders in here, and there's transgendering all over the place, and now we can't even bully them. I remember the good old days. I mean, we'd do much worse. Yeah, it's the most evangelical, district.
I'm an Hispanic man. Could I decide I was an Asian man? Would I have the ability to be an Asian man and challenge Harvard's discrimination because I made that decision?
Senator, I'm not able to answer your question. You're asking me about hypotheticals and
I'm asking you how you would assess standing if I came in and said I have decided I identify as an Asian man.
I would assess standing the way I assess other legal issues, which is to listen to the arguments made by the parties, consider the relevant precedents, and the constitutional principles involved, and make a determination.
Yeah,
they make a mockery out of government. They make a mockery out of the Supreme Court. What is the point of having these hearings if you're going to be asking her questions that are super irrelevant to what she would be doing as a Supreme Court justice?
Look, I get that there are people who don't understand what the experience of a trans person is like. Partially because our society has pretended that it doesn't exist for so long, partially because there's been so little representation in media. It is difficult for people who haven't had that experience to understand it. But it takes extra work to try to draw an equivalence with what if I thought that I was Asian? What if I thought that I was rich? Do you have to give me? No, that's not actually how gender works. Gender is a self-expression. Some of the other things that you jokingly use to attack and alienate trans people are based on something else.